communication with Southern California, KHJ-TV Public Affairs presents Teen Talk. In 1986, a bill was passed requiring a C average of all California students participating in extracurricular activities. The NCAA requires athletes at any Division I college to have a C average and a combined 700 SAT score. In 1981, 87% of whites scored 700 or better on combined SAT scores. Only 43% of blacks scored better than 700.
In 1986, both the California State Assembly and the Senate unanimously passed a resolution making it mandatory for all students in the state to maintain a C average or better in order to participate in such activities as sports, music, drama, student government, drill team, and journalism. Governor Duke Majan signed the bill into law with no hesitation. The law exists in several other states, and the idea seems to be catching on. I'm Joseph Feinstein, and today on Teen Talk, we're going to talk to several students who are affected by this law and are directly concerned with losing their status as athletes, musicians, journalists, and government leaders if they receive either a fail in any course or if their grade point slips below a 2.0. Welcome, panel. Welcome to Teen Talk. Let's find out how you personally have been affected by the C average requirement, okay? Let's start with you.
I've been affected by this for the reason that I've been in the hospital about 4 times last year.
For what, Tina?
I have gotten in an accident in gymnastics.
Really?
And I fell and I hurt myself.
Yeah.
And the school system, without spending too much time out of school, will not give you a private tutor. Therefore, you have to make up the work. And when you're not well enough to make up the work, then you end up failing classes. And when you're not doing well in a class, you end up not going at all. And then when you're so much involved in something else, like an extracurricular activity, they just don't. You can't. If you have an F, you can't do it.
I see. What about you, John? How did it affect you?
I was affected by the 2.0 and the no fails. Is that when I had a class that I didn't think was very important, I would not go to it because if I was late, I didn't want to get in any trouble. And when I received this fail, I couldn't participate in my basketball team no more. And I think it's not really important to have the fails because if someone's not a very good student but who can play sports, I think they should go with their sports.
Okay, so you were affected by being on the basketball team and you failed a class, and that took you out of the basketball team. That's what I hear you saying.
Correct.
All right, we're going to identify the problem for a little bit, and then we'll kind of get the others in here. What happened to you, Laura?
Well, I was in play production class. That's a drama class. And we were doing my class was doing a Shakespeare competition with all the other schools in the district. And my report card that I received about 5 weeks to that, I had a fail in PE.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't participate in it.
So you were out of the drama because of phys ed failure. And how did you feel?
Well, I felt that wasn't really fair because that has nothing to do with my drama class. And I thought, I was getting a good grade in my drama class, so.
And in all your other classes too?
Yeah.
Okay. And Maceo, what happened to you?
Well, I got affected by it by failing geometry. It was not understanding the subject, and they cut me from the team. And
what team were you on?
I played basketball. And I thought because of the C average, I think they did what was best for me. And I just thought that next time around, I think I should study a little bit harder.
Well, I hear the optimism in your voice, and I appreciate that. I know that when I was in high school, I was in student body government, and I was a reporter on the newspaper. And I was one of those people that did very well in English and social studies and French and foreign language, but I didn't know my geometry. And I really worked my tail off to get a D out of that geometry. And I'm wondering, those of you that are not too affected by this, you're carrying a 3.6 average, you said, Jennifer? Is it fair that they should knock me out of student government and out of the newspaper because I just couldn't learn my geometry, and let's say I got to fail in geometry. How do you feel about this law?
Well, I don't agree with the failing part of it, but I do think that the 2.0 is fair.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that you really should, that school is number one. You should spend most of the time in school. But then again, like you said, if you have a particular weak spot, such as math, it's not really fair.
I think everyone has a weak spot somewhere along the line in here. How do you feel about this law, Mark? What's your conclusion?
I don't know. The only reason a lot of times I get out of bed and go to school is because of the theater that I'm involved in and the vocal stuff. And because I get an F in PE, which is really stupid.
Mm-hmm.
If I get an F in PE, I can't be in the musical or a play or anything like that, then why, I don't even want to go to school.
Do you think this law is motivating kids to work harder?
Yeah.
Would you think so, Joe?
Definitely.
Why?
Well, I have a couple of friends that are in football, and now that this has come along, this law, they've really worked a lot harder to get their C average to stay on the football team.
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel, Tina? Does it make you work harder?
No, because some subjects I just cannot grasp. I took government twice before I passed it, and I couldn't. I had a tutor, and I still passed with a slight D. And I just didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to go to the class anymore. I was too embarrassed because I tried so hard and I just couldn't get it.
We're talking about the C average requirement, and panel, I'm wondering how you feel when you find out that you're knocked out of an activity because of a class that you didn't particularly think was too important, that Ed Career Options class that you were mentioning before, John. What goes on inside of you? What's happening inside of you about that?
After you drop out of your sports, what to me is really important, to play sports and to act in school, you feel like, well, what's the use of coming to school anymore if you can't even play? And that's the main point of view to me.
So how do you overcome that kind of an angry, frustrated kind of feeling?
I would usually just flake off or be absent a lot, or just not even come to school, as I said before.
Won't you want to make do and make it up and get back into the whole swing of things?
Sometimes sometimes you can have a grasp and say, yeah, okay, I'll try harder and maybe next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of people that they just die out and just fade away.
Mm-hmm. And how did you feel, Tina? You were sick. You were legitimately in the hospital. There was a whole bunch of things going wrong, and now your grades are going to suffer for it. And now you can't play, and now you can't do the things you want to do. What do you do? How do you get yourself back into gear so that you pick your average up to a 2.0?
You just keep praying that it won't happen next time.
But prayer is one thing, and prayer is not allowed in school.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
But you can't do anything. You just have to keep going to school and keep trying harder and harder, and sometimes you just hope it's going to work out.
Do you guys, some of you Mark and Jennifer and you Joe, you're not affected by this. Your GPAs are high enough and you don't fail and do the other stuff. Can you understand that for some kids, this failure, this one failure or two failures in some of their classes strips them of all their possibility to play football, let's say, or the possibility to be on the team or whatever? How do you feel about that? Do you okay that?
Well, no, it's almost, I can't say it did happen to me, but it almost happened to me. It got to the point where, see, I started shirking my responsibilities in school, because I had so much else to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, I have to get my priorities straight. And in my life, theater comes before chemistry. And then they informed me that, oh, well, if you fail chemistry, you can't be in the play.
Mm-hmm.
So what I ended up having to do is drop out of chemistry because of, the C average requirement. I would have stayed in chemistry otherwise.
Oh, Oh, so what I'm hearing is that all of a sudden maybe some of you are starting to take easier classes so you don't have to take the harder stuff and fail that stuff. Is that what I hear you saying?
If your counselors let you.
If your counselors let you. What do you mean?
I went to private school and I was an honor student, and I dropped from honors to regular. Now since I didn't pass geometry, they wouldn't let me take a basic class.
How about you, Laura? You're going to take some easier classes so you don't fail out and you start.
Yeah.
You are?
I did take easier classes this semester since I'm taking play production again. So took easier classes.
You did. So the tendency then would be to start this. What does this do? What does this do inside of you?
Well, it just kind of turns me off of school because those are my fun classes. That's why I like to go to school, and it makes me feel like, well, if I can't do that, then why even go?
Are you going to take easier classes to get back on the basketball team?
Well, the season's almost over, but if I had another choice, I
There's
probably
always
would.
another season, Maceo.
Yeah. Well, next season, I'm considering on taking easier courses, but to me, I don't think easier courses are the way to go. I know college courses are going to be looking at, you got an A in this and that, but I think it's the course itself.
So what happens when you wind up taking another geometry, or what was the problem course for you? Geometry. So now you're winding up, you got to take geometry to get into the university or into Cal State. You got to take that geometry. It's coming back at you to haunt you. And let's say you don't do well in that again. What are you going to do then?
Then I was thinking about just dropping geometry itself. But
then you don't go to college.
Yeah. But right now I'm taking geometry A over.
Yes.
And hopefully I will just do a lot better.
Aren't you sorry Pythagoras lived? Created all those problems for everybody. He really did a number on everybody. Good old Pythagoras. Another criticism of the C average requirement is that a lot of people say it discriminates against minorities and the poor. How would you answer that? Jennifer, what would you say about that?
I don't really think, I think it does only because, at least at our school, the majority of, say, the basketball team happens to be a minority. So in that sense, it does. But I think something that's not being brought out is the C average requirement is telling the students what the priorities are. You know that school is the number one priority.
Yes, it says it's the number one priority, and when I went to the basketball coaches and to the baseball coach and the football coach at the school where I teach at Grant, and I said, is there anybody that's failed out because of the C average requirement? They said you can have the entire team. It was almost like every team is almost failing out, and it's almost like there's not going to be anybody around to play ball, to be in the drama groups, and so forth. Are you worried about this at all, Joe?
No. The way I think about the C average is that most universities require C for it to even count. So all they're doing is really helping you get that C and motivating you for that C to get into college.
You're absolutely right. That's how it all started, with the NCAA demanding that we have a 2.0 average, and this is what's happening. Any other thoughts on it, Maceo?
Well, I agree with Joe that the 2.0 just makes you work just that much harder to get that 2.0, and this way you can play your sport that you are good at. And at certain times, people just don't want to fight back, and I think they should, just for the fact that they might be good at the sport and they might get their careers going, and instead of not going to school, not getting their 2.0, they could just end up where they're at now.
I'm teaching a rather easy 2.5 credit course called Education Career Options, and about 40% of all my students are choosing to fail. The dropout rate in the schools is over 30%. Panel, why do so many students so readily accept failure? Mark, what do you think?
I think it's because it's the lesser of two evils.
What do you mean?
A lot of kids have other things to take into account. Like, I know a lot of kids who have to get jobs, or they won't get the nice clothes that they want. Or, you know, and I'm sure there are some cases where kids have to take jobs just to feed themselves and their family. And that just kind of takes the importance out of having an A in Spanish or an A in chemistry. If I have to choose between doing my job and getting paid or doing homework and getting an A, I'm going to have to pick doing my job.
I see. Why do you think they're choosing failure, Macy?
I was thinking that they're doing it because if they fail a course before and they know that it didn't sink in the first time.
This is not geometry. This is just a couple of easy assignments that I give. Go get a Social Security card. Interview your mother or father about when they were 16 years of age. That kind of stuff.
Maybe they think it's too easy for them.
Too easy?
To just, that they may think they know it already. And they just don't even want to bother with it.
I see.
It's not important to them.
Not important to them?
No.
Why not?
Well, there's a lot of subjects that just some kids feel are just not what we need for other things. I mean, like I've wanted to do something for a long time now, and I've been working towards that. But there's other subjects that I've had to take that just won't, I feel, help me so much.
Okay, all right, I'll buy that answer. That's a possibility. The LA City Schools started this C-average requirement about 4 years before it became a statewide law. And now it's a statewide law, so the C-average requirement is all throughout the state of California. And I'm wondering, what do you think the schools should do or could do to make students study harder or learn better so that they don't fail? You have any thoughts about that? John?
Well, I really think the school can make kids study harder. I mean, if they want to study harder, if they want to succeed, they will. The school can give easier courses, and that means it's just going to have less people coming. Because, like as Joe said, if the course is so easy and it's so important, they shouldn't even bother coming. So
Go ahead.
So I think it's like majorly that they really can't help them. They've got to do it on their own.
The kids have got to do it on their own? You agree, Jennifer?
Well, I think that the schools should turn around the emphasis and put the emphasis on schoolwork rather than sports. Because like now, every Friday on our PA, you know, what used to be go out and root for the football team. I think that they should turn it around. And then instead of having the football team practice for so long and the drama for the plays practice so long, they should limit the practices.
Okay.
So kids can do their homework.
So limiting on the practice. What could the schools have done to help you avoid your failure in phys ed?
Well, I really don't think anything. Because, like, you know, the smog around LA and everything, it really bothers my lungs.
Yeah.
And we had to run every day, and it really hurt. So I didn't really want to do that because I don't enjoy pain. So.
Did you ever tell them that? I'm glad you don't enjoy pain. Masochist. None of you are masochists on the show. I'm the only masochist here. But good. But did you ever tell that to your phys ed teacher?
Yes, but, you know, they don't care. They just say, well, you'll get a fail then because everybody else is doing it. So.
Wow. That's not very understanding on the part of the teacher, is it?
Even people with asthma have to do it.
Would you have gone, why didn't you go to the next level, to the principal and speak to the principal, or have your mother talk to the principal?
Well, I really didn't think it would help.
You didn't think so?
No. They don't really care. They just, you know, if everybody else is doing it, they say you should do it too. It doesn't matter.
Part of what this whole life is about is the fact that we have to take individual differences. That's one of the key items that I learned in all my education courses. My training taught me that you are all different. We are all different and need to be treated differently in a school situation, in life's situation. We have to be treated differently and regarded differently. Did your mother offer any help to you at the time that you were sick and so forth? Did she go to school and complain to the teachers and try and stand behind you at that time, Tina?
There was really nothing she could do.
No?
We pleaded sometimes with them, but most of the time they said, well, she's got to make up the work, or she just doesn't pass. And I looked fine physically, and I didn't look like I was death warmed over, so my teachers didn't take it into account that I was really sick and I couldn't do the work.
I see. Well, I would agree that you look fine physically. That's for sure. That's for sure. Now, if you fall behind and you get knocked out of activities, or these other students get knocked out of activities, where do you think kids are going to turn when they get knocked out? What do you think is going to happen to these kids, Mark?
Like out of sports or theater? Well, if I got booted out of theater, I wouldn't see any reason to go to school, but my mom would, so I'd go, but my heart wouldn't be in it. I'd sit through the class, like a lot of kids I know, they just go to school, sit through the class, they don't do homework, they don't care, and it really affects the kids that want to learn.
I know that. I see that every day.
And I'd probably become one of them. I just go, put in my time at school, and then go home. I wouldn't learn anything if, I wouldn't have any reason to.
From my perspective as a 30-year teaching veteran, it seems that at the same time the dropout rate is increasing at a rocket pace, we are steadily increasing the requirements for a better performance in school. It's an interesting dilemma. Emerson once said, "Society is always taken by surprise by a new example of common sense." The C-average requirement and the no-fail requirement is an interesting question of common sense, and I'm not certain it is clearly defined. I still question the idea of prohibiting an outstanding athlete, a gifted band member, the lead of a school play, or a star reporter from their activity because of one fail or a grade point average just slightly under 2.0. We may be in the process eliminating a genius in a special area of creativity forever. For Teen Talk, this is Joseph Feinstein saying we'll see you very soon.